Today we're meeting with candidate Curtis Edwards for Clarksburg City Council. Curtis is a longtime city businessman. Prior to that, he was a longtime educator. Curtis, what's your vision for the city of Clarksburg?
John, first of all, thanks to you and thanks to the newspaper and all the powers that be for having this opportunity. This, I guess, is a wonderful forum for everybody and all the citizens to get to know who the candidates are. My vision for Clarksburg has come about over the last 40 years that I have watched council and watched Clarksburg sometimes fail and sometimes have some successes, but at this time in my life I felt it was time to be a part of making Clarksburg more successful. My vision for Clarksburg is simply this: to grow the uptown part of Clarksburg, and to do that requires foot traffic. I mean, that's a word I've used a lot in talking to people. There has to be foot traffic in downtown, and there have to be reasons to have foot traffic. Of course, the new things that we've done with the DMV and the announcement, and it's good that Governor Tom, we all make choices, but he made a right choice on this one. It helped us a lot, and that's just one of the things that will bring foot traffic to downtown. But my past 30 years that I've been in business, in the travel business, I have watched cities from New York City to small towns grow because of tourism. And when you bring tourism into a town, and we have some things here, John, as you well know, I mean, there's only one birthplace of Stonewall Jackson, and yet we have not capitalized on that one iota. We have the FBI facility, and the FBI facility could, and I've already begun working on this with the people on Capitol Hill, planting some seeds that there needs to be an education center at the FBI facility, because, John, that would draw tens of thousands of students and adults to come to our area, which would help Clarksburg to be at the education center. One of the biggest draws in Washington, D.C. over my 30 years in the student travel business was the FBI tour. That was a big deal. After 9/11, of course, the tour ended for security reasons, but we think an education center would be wonderful, because it would also be planting a seed in young children's minds about future careers and why they should study hard and stay in school and graduate and all those things. When you have those things, and the other part of the vision is we have to bring the arts to Clarksburg. For heaven's sakes, if Elkins and Buchanan and some of our surrounding towns can have the arts, we can too. And that starts with the old Robinson Grand, the Rose Garden. There are obstacles in the way that have to be eliminated. That won't make everybody happy, but they have to be eliminated. That has to be a part of the growth of the downtown, and then we'll go from there. But I see tourism, I see the arts, and I see our history bringing people to the area. And honest to goodness, John, nearly 20 years ago, some councilmen and some city officials approached me and asked me, I just wanted to meet real quick, and said, "Well, Curtis, what do we do to get some of these tour buses that are running up and down I-79 across 50? What do we do to get them to stop?" And I gave them some ideas. They didn't do anything with it. It's time to act on that.
Curtis, the city has done a great job with demolition in neighborhoods, and it's looked toward by many in the state as being very progressive in its revitalization efforts. Do you agree with the city's current program, and if so, why? And if you don't agree, why?
John, in general, I agree with the program. My first concern is that the codes be enforced equally across the board. In Clarksburg, in the city limits, there are no people that are better than others. There's no hierarchy in Clarksburg. All citizens should be treated the same. So I want to be really careful that no one or no community or no street is sort of picked on as having harder code enforcement. As long as it's fair and across the board and equal, and people have an opportunity to talk. My problem with it is, what's replacing those houses on those empty lots? It doesn't seem that there's a very good plan, even for Habitat for Humanity. I know there's houses been built, but there doesn't seem to be a very good process in place for getting qualified people in those houses. And to my knowledge, I don't know of any plans to really continue forward with the Habitat for Humanity. That program is very successful in other cities, and that doesn't necessarily have to do with council, but I certainly would look into it, because we need quality single-family housing, and that's the thing that we want to replace on those lots. And I don't know if it'll fit on the demolition side of it, but one of my concerns is there are too many single-family homes in Clarksburg that are being chopped into 2 and 3 apartments. There's just no good that comes out of that, other than whoever owns it is going to make a little extra money. So we have to, I think, have some regulations in place to limit the number of rental properties that would be available in certain residential sections. And we have to look at code there, because once you chop that single-family dwelling up, you know, and I'm not saying anything in a disparaging way, but you're just going to get some rental people coming through and passing through, and we always have this transient, and it just, if you look at the neighborhoods that has lots of rental property, even the streets and the city blocks, those that have the most of those types of facilities that's rental have the most problems. The police spend a little more time there. So I really like to protect our single-family dwellings in Clarksburg a little bit more, as long as they're still quality housing.
Curtis, it seems like the city's infrastructure is aging, and one thing we've noticed in particular are some roadways in disrepair. Would you consider a user fee or a worker tax to pave more roadways?
John, that's a good question. The user fee, the worker tax, might fit into the city plan somewhere down the road, but think about it. We're trying to draw people into the uptown Clarksburg area, and we're wanting to welcome them with open arms. Well, we can't welcome them with open arms on the front end and have somebody picking their pocket on the back end. You know, just we're going to get taxes from them right now. So I don't think that's a plan that'll work right now. We need to have people to want to come and establish their businesses and offices in the uptown area and within the city limits, and I think that would be detrimental to what we're trying to do to get people there from around the county and our surrounding counties too. So we're drawing people. I'd like to say, I don't know if we'll get back in the good old days of Clarksburg when we had McCrory's and G.C. Murphy and W.T. Grant up, you know, lining Main Street, but I think we can develop a more vibrant uptown.
Curtis, you know, the city scored some pretty big victories here lately with the Brownsville development, the state office complex, and Highland Hospital. Are you pleased with the city's direction, and how would you improve it?
John, I am pleased with the direction the city is going. I began to notice change after the last election when Gary and Kathy came on board, and I think that really helped initiate some of these things. I think change still needs to happen on council. Those things that have happened with the opening of the new stores and with the DMV coming to downtown are excellent, because it goes back to my original point. We have to do everything we can to have foot traffic in downtown, not around downtown, but in downtown. So those things will help. My plan, though, is I envision our buildings in downtown. We have some magnificent buildings, some wonderful history. And some of those buildings, I think, if not usable for office space, would be wonderful for condominiums, apartments, upscale. You think of our retiring and our aging population. A lot of people would retire and they may not want to keep their large house and 2 acres of grass to cut, but they really want to stay right here in the area. And if you have quality housing available for them in these buildings, then guess what's going to come to Clarksburg? Then the services that those people need that are living there are going to happen. So I am for looking at helping our business people, the people that own these buildings, help them with financing to build quality housing. I'm also in favor of some of our large lots that are vacant in the downtown to encourage people to come in and build duplexes, townhomes, something that's going to be available for sale or for rent, but again, upscale housing that people want. We have a lot of professionals in the area because of the oil and gas boom. They're looking for quality places. I know that. I have some rental property, and that's the kind of person that's been calling me, wanting a nice house, someplace to live for a number of years. So we're sort of in a good place there. But housing is important for the downtown.
Curtis, with the election coming up on June 4th, what makes you the right candidates for the citizens of Clarksburg?
Well, John, on that question, that decision comes from all the citizens of Clarksburg. I've put myself out there with my experience, my education, my background, to allow the citizens to decide if I'm the candidate that best represents their values. That's where I think the citizens have to take a moment and look at the people that are running and think about themselves. When businesses and investors from outside of Clarksburg and outside of the state and sometimes outside the country, when they come here to look at perhaps doing business or investing in Clarksburg, it would be nice for them to talk to all the citizens, but they can't. So who do they talk to, and who do they see, and who do they hear talking? They hear city council. So you need to choose the type of person that represents your values the very best. I don't mean the values when they're just sitting at city council or they're on TV or they're giving an interview for the newspaper. what kind of values do those people live 24 hours a day? Who are they really, deep down in their heart? Because those values, and I've always said when it comes to speaking to people, and I've talked with business leaders, and I've worked with business leaders and businesses all over the country for the last 30 years. I don't have a problem talking to them. If you speak the truth and you say it from your heart, it's easy to talk to people. And I think when people come here and want to talk about doing business in Clarksburg, if it's in your heart and it's in the truth and you're doing the right thing, and it's the truth and you're doing the right thing, then I think they're going to be attracted to be interested in doing business here in Clarksburg. So the citizens are making a decision on their values and who best represents them. I promised them honesty, open government, and not to give any cliches, because most of the candidates will probably want to say that, but I've never run for anything in my life. And I've been active, politically, and I always vote. But it was just time for me, and I talked with my family and my children, and I don't want to take away from my children, my grown children, and my grandkids, and Lori and I, and our son Nicholas. I don't want to take away from them. But it's time for me to give what I have in my experience back to the people of Clarksburg. And I hope you'll take a look at the flyer. If I haven't been to your house and dropped the flyer off, I'll be there soon. And take a look at what my plan is and what my background is. And ask yourself, what have all the other candidates been doing for the last 30 years to improve people's lives? And that's something I've always done. Since college, I majored in business for 4 years, John. When I come to graduation, I wasn't interested in being in business, really, and then I began teaching and coaching and changed my degree there. I've always wanted to help people, and thus have helped kids. So I want to lend my experience to helping the people of Clarksburg now. And again, I appreciate the opportunity, and I would finish by saying I wish good things for Clarksburg and all the candidates and all the citizens.